How to photograph your artwork using a smartphone. Well, these are some guidelines that I'll share with you. They work for me, and hopefully they'll give you some tips so that you can take better photos for social media. So the first thing I do is go to settings, and in the apps, go to the camera app. Tap on that, and down the bottom, there's under composition is grid. If that's not on, just flick it on. That then pops a grid on your camera, which helps you then with the orientation to even up your photo, because a little bit of tilting either way can distort the image and quite easily. So the grid just helps you line up the top of your paper, the top and the sides, and get it nice and square. Also, you can then tap where you want the focus to be, and a little yellow square pops up and it can focus just in the right place. On this phone, this is an iPhone 14, and your make and model could well be different, so maybe Google the steps so that you can find these settings. You also want to make sure your orientation is correct. So if you want a horizontal image, make sure that these settings are horizontal, as they will flip when you turn the phone to a vertical position. So if you happen to take it incorrectly, you can always flip it in your camera settings or your photo settings. Now up here there's a little arrow. If you tap that, some settings appear here, some symbols, and I then select the timer so that it will automatically, the shutter will go off after 3 or 10 seconds. So if we select 3 seconds, you can then set everything correctly, hold it very still for the countdown, and then automatically the shutter will go off. And that way you don't get a movement if you hit that button to take the photo. When taking the photo, you want to hold your phone, as securely as possible. So I place my 3 fingers there just under the lens, supported by my thumb and little finger here, and then you've got a fairly secure holding position to keep your camera nice and steady. And sometimes you can even wedge your elbow into your body for more security. I tend to select portrait mode quite often, and this is under natural light, and hold your phone a distance from the artwork, and that allows more light to come in and usually allows you to get a much more accurate colour. So try portrait mode as against photo mode. The next thing I do is photograph as much as possible under natural light, especially for the final piece. And that way, sometimes with the fluorescent lights, you might get a banding, so you'll get a strip of colour across here and get quite different colour. So natural light is your best light. Find a window. Very useful piece of equipment is a whiteboard. I use foam core, just have a piece of foam core. So if the window is on this side and the light's coming in, then it will bounce off the whiteboard back into the artwork and just evens out the light. And it's really, really helpful, especially if you've got a slightly dull day, and helps brighten the image. So we'll go and find a window and take a photo. I've placed the artwork by a window, and I've used a mid-tone grey backing board, and this helps the camera to find truer colours within the artwork rather than trying to balance against a bright white backing board. And this is quite a large window, so a lot of light's coming in. As you can see, so I can be a bit further back it lets in a very bright, even light, and the light's coming this direction. So it's something you have to be aware of, that you avoid shadows when you're photographing your artwork. I can now put my backing board here and let that come into effect and help. And I would photograph up quite high in this situation. I'd have my grid ready, even my timer on, and then I could just photograph the artwork. Now, these are just a few tips. You always have to experiment, and you might even find that you might be more successful with your artwork tilted against a wall on a slight angle. But try and find natural light, because it really is the best, most even light that will give you the best result as against artificial light. So I hope you find this helpful and enjoy photographing your artwork.